no secret that Resident Evil 4 Remake is a pretty damn good game.
I just parried that.
Due in part to the presence of one man, the Merchant.
Over here, stranger.
Whether it's buying, selling, trading, you name it, this guy gets it done. I mean, you're being chased down by literally an entire village worth of zombies, but as long as you've got a dead snake and a raw egg, this dude is loyal for life. But a part of me can't shake the feeling that I'm just using this guy. I mean, aside from the single time he cheated, and I forgive you, buddy, I mean, come on! He's just spent his time waiting. Patiently. But lately, something's been off. You see, he hasn't been himself lately. And according to the devs, this guy is 3 trillion pesetas in debt, which honestly explains a lot about his mood as of late. So today, Leon decided he's gonna show the Merchant some love. This is the first video in my Resident Evil Challenge Run series, so the rules for this one are pretty simple, there only being the one main rule to work around. No Merchant whatsoever. If Leon so much as glances at this guy, it's game over. We will have to rely solely on the weapons, ammo, and healing items that are dotted across the game's various levels. This means no weapon upgrades, no body armor, no case upgrades, and really just a whole bunch of other crappy things we're gonna have to deal with. So without further ado, the No Merchant Run. Heading into the village, Leon has one goal and one goal only: locate Santa Claus. You see, some intel's been passed down from HQ, confirming a particularly jolly presence within Valdalobos. I don't know how the fuck to pronounce that. Leon figures that if he can find Saint Nick and give him all the precious treasures he's accumulated across his trip, that Santa can then hand-deliver the gifts to the merchant so that he can then resell them to clear his debt. Sounds simple enough. We head into the house and meet our very first elf. After a brief but deep conversation, Leon quickly finds out that the intel was, in fact, correct. Santa is here. However, the elf didn't take so kindly to Leon's sudden appearance. Not that it matters. Let's just hope Santa understands self-defense. Slamming our way through a second-story window,
Not this time, buddy.
we eventually reach the village square. The battle is tough, but with the help of 2 grenades and every single shotgun shell to my name, we managed to take down Dr. Salvador and earn ourselves an emerald. The very first valuable we'll be hanging on to give to Santa. A short bingo game later, we make it to the windmill, where after a quick run-in with a guy at the furry convention you try your best to avoid, we meet an interesting fellow. This man, claiming to be an excommunicated elf, informs us that Santa isn't exactly who we think he is. Before I can ask what he means, however, we're rudely interrupted by none other than Ebenezer Scrooge. Looks like whatever Santa's doing up here, he's involved. And just like that first elf, he doesn't exactly love the idea of Leon snooping around their business. We wake up with our hands wrapped in chains, where it's revealed that the ex-elf's name is Luis, and he too is after Saint Nick. Our conversation is once again cut short, this time by another elf. After a quick but powerful performance of chain ballet, the elf is so moved that he faints on the spot, allowing for Luis to make a getaway before I have time to question him. Damn. We do a tiny bit of stealthing before finally meeting face to face with the man of the hour, the Merchant.
I have some new goods that might interest you.
I can't talk to you right now. Despite every bone in my body telling me to speak to him, I put my head down and pressed on. I know it might seem a bit rude right now, ignoring him, not even saying a quick hello, but the look on his face when he opens all those presents will make up for it tenfold, I promise. I shoot a bird, then grab the hexagonal emblem with little to no issue, heading into the next area and saying goodbye to the merchant, for now. Here we meet yet another chainsaw-wielding maniac, but he goes down like a punk. Another emerald gained. Despite the fact that the possibility of being shot in the face while in the toilet is very low, it's never quite zero, which I promptly demonstrate to this gentleman here before stealing his precious crystal ball. We put it into a door and once again meet with Mr. Scrooge, who firmly believes in the idea that actions speak louder than words, those words being,
I want to kill you.
And although shaken up, we press on, determined to ensure the merchant can pay off his debts. Speaking of which, we once again meet up with the merchant while passing through towards the church. Leon tried his best to reassure him, but I'm not sure he got the point across. We commit such a large amount of animal murder in such a small period of time that PETA plans on dragging me behind their HQ and shooting me in the leg, but luckily it gives us plenty of loot to survive the next few areas. At this point, the merchant began to get a bit desperate. I'd ran past him every time I'd seen him, and it really seemed like I was simply ignoring him. In an act of desperation, he decided to set up a giant shop inside of a cave. I was, of course, impressed by this display, and despite how badly I wanted to applaud him, I once again had to continue forward instead. Word from HQ's just come in. Santa's on the move, and he appears to have a confirmed presence within an old church. The only way to get there, however, is via boat, so after a quick battle through the fishing village,
How the fuck did he see me?
we find the gas canister and fill up the boat. The merchant, however, doesn't want us to leave. We still haven't told him our plan, and he's starting to get upset. The man needs money, we've been over this, and the constant ignorance from Leon seems to have put him in a real bad mood. At this point, the merchants decided Leon isn't going anywhere just yet. Using his elite sales tactics he'd learned in community college, the merchant makes a bold attempt to sink Leon's boat in order to force him to purchase a new one from his shop. After an intense and emotional fight,
This is like that scene in one of the SpongeBob movies. You know what I'm talking about?
Wait, with Hasselhoff, yeah.
Yes.
the merchant backed off. Looks like we're in the clear for now, but I'm not sure how long. After defeating the merchant, we decide to take the boat out for a brief joyride. Here on this old ship is where we find the Red 9, which honestly might carry us through most of the playthrough. Even without the stock, which of course can only be bought from the merchant, it still packs quite a punch, and is at the very least a general improvement over the starting handgun. Sorry, Kendo. We grab a red gemstone ring for the merchant, then the two heads, and we finally make our way towards the church.
Would you consider the shooting range? Because it's technically not talking to the merchant.
Is there like a little like brand name on like little like coin slot machine thing?
Let's go check. You know what? That's a very good point.
Property of the merchant.
Yeah, no fine print detected here. I think we're all good to do the shooting gallery.
It is a challenge from the merchant. Think about it.
Ah, wait a second. Oh, he's right there.
Dude, he's like, oh, fail the challenge, stranger.
Just when I started to think this trip was getting a bit too easy, I was promptly thrust back into reality when none other than the merchant slams through the giant gate. Another battle ensues, this time on solid ground. He's reached a point where if I'm not gonna buy his wares, I'm better off dead. But of course, we can't let that happen. We try our absolute best not to hit any vitals and to simply knock him out. And after a little help from me, we managed to take him down once more. This is for your own good. I promise. Here we are, the church. According to Hunnigan, Santa is here. Without much time to spare, we search around a bit and align some stained glass before gaining access to the second floor. Santa should be right around...
Just let me go.
Listen. Easy with that.
Our intel, as it turns out, was wrong. Santa had tricked us, deliberately placing this woman here as a decoy. We were set up. She explains that she's set to be the next Mrs. Claus, but doesn't think she's fit for the part. She likes the warm weather, long walks on the beach, and spending her days under the sun. You know, me too. Anyway, using his supernatural abilities, Santa sends a message straight into our minds. He's had enough. The Kringle sent a large group of elves to stop us. Now that we have another person to deal with, things are gonna get a bit more intense. The lack of any weapon upgrades mixed with the inability to craft flash grenades is a perfect recipe to induce suicidal thoughts, and despite being in the first third of the game, they're starting to get louder. But we need to be strong. For him. We make it through the church onslaught and begin our escape, running through the village to try to lose our pursuers. There were some small hiccups.
Ashley! Oh!
But after a few minutes, we make it to a bridge. They're coming at us from all sides, but just before we succumb to our festive demise, none other than Luis appears and ushers us into a cabin. He and Ashley get acquainted just as I slam him into a wall. He promises that he had a good reason to leave me behind earlier, but I just wasn't buying it. Personal vendettas aside, there was still the pressing matter outside, that being the entire village population circling the cabin. So for now, we put our differences aside, hide Ashley, and fight. Going into this challenge, this is one of the sections I was most worried about. Despite my godlike aim, the aforementioned lack of weapon upgrades and throwable crafting made this significantly more difficult than it had any right to be. One by one, we board up the downstairs windows and bring the fight upstairs. Staying calm, we finally get the brute to spawn. He goes down no problemo, just as Ashley finds an escape route and leads us to safety. We'd managed to survive the fight, and finally, with a bit of rest, Luis finally decides to explain himself. You see, Santa isn't quite the man he used to be. Years of heavy candy cane abuse had caused him to go into a psychosis, and with his pre-existing magical powers, it was a recipe for trouble. He spent the last few months taking over Valdolobos, his favorite sightseeing spot when he isn't at the workshop. He's kidnapped Ashley and brought her to the village in the hopes that he can convert her into his new Mrs. Claus, the sick freak. Interestingly, however, Luis tells us something else. Something that changes the course of this journey forever. You see, Santa wasn't snorting the jolly stuff for no reason. Not entirely dissimilar to the merchant, Santa had been in quite a bit of debt after all the years of handing out presents for free. After going crazy, he devised a plan to clear himself of it. As it turns out, Santa had somehow transferred his debt onto the merchant. That 3 trillion pesetas were never his to pay, and the whole thing was an elaborate lie from the mainstream media. The guy was still in debt, don't get me wrong, but he was really only a couple thousand in the negatives.
Good stuff, stranger.
With this new knowledge, our plans changed. The merchant's still gonna receive all the treasure, that's not changing, but we have a new goal. Transfer the merchant's debt back to Santa, then kill him. Ashley seems to be understanding of Leon's new mission, and despite wanting to go home, she understands that, for now, that'll be put on hold. We meet the man of the hour once again. It's a bit awkward at first, but Leon finally decides to spill the beans. After telling the merchant his plan, the merchant's mood increases dramatically.
Stranger.
He believes in us, and with that boost in spirit, we make quick work of the security checkpoint up ahead.
It's the coolest thing I've ever done in my life.
Oh! It's quiet. Too quiet. At this point, Ashley really needed a nap, so in an attempt to relive her middle school days, she decides to hang out inside a locker for now. After a necessary backflip, we get introduced to 2 chainsaw-wielding ladies. As it turns out, these 2 aren't just regular women, they're actually both an ex-Mrs. Claus. You see, Santa's become a bit of a playa in recent months, repeatedly leading these ladies on, only to leave them in the dust when he's bored. Yeah, he's a real asshole. I managed to get off some good damage in the beginning, but this fight ended up being way more difficult than I'd imagined. I had little to no ammo, and after defeating the first of the ex-Clauses, it seemed like the second one just wouldn't die. I pumped every last bullet I had into her.
Oh, please!
And even dropped a flaming lamp on her head, but she just kept coming. After what felt like an hour, I'd somehow managed to actually defeat her.
Oh my god! Holy shit, that was not easy.
With pretty much no ammo left after the fact. If we were going to survive the rest of the journey, we'd have to play smarter. Continuing through the village, Scrooge makes his grand return. He's got direct orders from Santa to capture Ashley and crush Leon while doing so. I shoot his hat because it's hilarious, and after a brief chase sequence, we finally decide to duke it out once and for all. We set off an explosive barrel right in his face. And I know I might just be a bit dazed from the explosion, but it can't be. In some sort of twisted possession, the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future had fused with his body, transforming into the person I cared about the most, the merchant. It was clearly an attempt to prevent me from attacking him, but I saw through the disguise and continued the battle as normal. My knife ended up breaking halfway through the fight, but luckily I had enough shotgun shells to dish out some decent damage. And after a few minutes of strategic running back and forth, Ebenezer Scrooge was done and dusted. Ironically enough, we grab his fake eye, a valuable item that we can yet again use to pay off the merchant's debt. Score. The building's coming down fast, and with some quick thinking from Ashley, we managed to...
You're welcome.
No, focus! With the village in our rear view, we've officially completed the first major area with 0 deaths. I was feeling pretty confident at this point. I feel like maybe this won't be so much of a challenge after all. But with the looming presence of the castle in the distance, I'm not so sure if that confidence will last. Just as I predicted, my confidence took a nosedive when this gentleman suddenly sneezed out a massive parasite. After helping relieve him of his issues, we begin our journey into the castle. Getting inside, of course, wasn't going to be easy. After a bit of pistol sniping, we were suddenly caught off guard by an explosion. They're using catapults now. Hellfire's raining down from all sides, but luckily we end up finding a cannon, which we use to not only gently usher some of the enemies away, but also to blast through the main gate, because doors are lame. The merchant got here before us, of course, and after a quick break for some catching up, we continue through the main hall. With Scrooge out of the picture, Santa's sent somebody new to stop us. Buddy the Elf. As it turns out, he too had a taste for the good stuff, and after decades of abuse, not only has he destroyed his mind, but it appears that his body has begun to exhibit elf-like symptoms as well. Despite being born a human, prolonged exposure to Santa's powers have seemingly turned him into a full, real elf. He demands we hand Ashley over, and it goes just about as well as expected.
No thanks, bro.
Dissatisfied with this response, Buddy sends his cronies after us. I introduce them to the barrel of my shotgun and to an awesome backflip while I'm at it. Descending into the dungeon, we fearlessly push forward despite the unsettling groans that keep getting louder. Unfortunately, the wooden boards beneath me can only hold so much, and the weight of my massive balls turns out to be a bit too much for them to handle. I'm sure we're fine, I'll just look for the Garrador. Despite their lack of vision, these guys are surprisingly effective in the art of turning human beings into ribbons, which wasn't exactly something I was looking forward to. I sneak around for a bit to see if there's any advantages I can use, but I eventually opt to use the classic technique of shooting the part that makes them die. It's starting to take longer than expected, but I try my best to keep my cool. As long as I can stay in this simple loop, this will be over with and—
Oh, god damn. First death.
Our no-death streak was officially over. I spent the next few weeks off the game. I went out for walks, took up reading, and opened a small bakery in rural Canada. My shame was too great to comprehend, and for all intents and purposes, the run was finished. Just kidding. We go straight back to the Garrador and finish him off. In a fit of rage, he tried to challenge me to a twerk-off, but quickly realized he didn't quite have the technique down.
You good?
Plus, we all know who's winning. I find a bloodied sword and add a bit of Ashley's for good measure. And after a small puzzle, we get another visit from Buddy the Elf. He demands we hand over the girl and lets us know that he's prepared some entertainment, whatever that means. Entertainment, however, isn't exactly the word I would use to describe what lies ahead. There were a few areas in this game I'd been dreading when doing this run. The cabin fight was certainly up there, but nothing compares to the horrors that hide behind that door. The water hall. A bad place to be, and a worse place to die. As we enter, I quickly loot the entire area before hitting the enemy spawn trigger. With the amount of ammo we're carrying, and with the little damage our guns do, we're gonna need to use every single trick we have at our disposal. Lucky for me, I don't know any tricks, so I instead just shoot them in the face with my shotgun. We luckily managed to finish the first section of the water hall unscathed, and aside from a small close call with Ashley, it went pretty smooth. We dropped down into the lower level, where I immediately back myself into a corner and throw a panic grenade. I never claimed to be a pro. I'm an expert. We grab the halo wheel and head back upstairs, where Ashley successfully catches an arrow with her teeth. Good job. It's up to Ashley to turn 2 wheels in order to raise our path out of here, but a small issue arises. She finishes the first one just fine, but in the process of turning the second one, I may have made a small mistake. You see, I was running dangerously low on ammo. The enemies were coming from each floor, and in an attempt to do some crowd control while I focused on my end, I may or may not have thrown a grenade directly at Ashley without thinking. Like the ironclad legend she is, she tanks that thing like a goddamn champ, but the excessive ringing in her ears after the fact causes her to fall to the ground, incapacitated. For the uninformed, when Ashley is in an incapacitated state, she will sit there on the ground until Leon's able to help her back up, which, without any access to her level, was impossible. To make things worse, I'd officially completely run out of ammo. Hopelessly, all I could do was watch in horror as the elves took Ashley away. You can just load your save, you know? Oh shit, yeah! This time, things honestly go just about the same. However, in a stroke of luck, even after running out of ammo once again, Ashley manages to finish turning the second wheel and just barely gets out in time. The challenge briefly becomes, can you beat Resident Evil 4 Remake with only a knife, but we're rewarded with a surplus of ammo just one platform over. Thanks, Santa. With the stress of the water hall behind us, we take a moment to breathe, but the journey must continue.